Hi, I'm Tom.
Hello, I'm Amy.
So yeah, this is our tiny house. We have 2 panels down here, and we have 4 on the roof. So we have 6 360 to 385 watt panels. We've got a 24 volt system, and so we've got 12 2-volt batteries. They're 600 amp hour. So we've got quite a big amount of battery storage. Just we're in Wales, so we have a lot of cloudy, rainy days during the winter. So we wanted to be able to be off grid throughout the year.
And it's enough for winter as well.
It's enough for the winter. Yeah, we have. In order to sort of make that work, we have you'll see inside a very small, sort of energy efficient fridge.
Building this house came off of us like really sitting down and asking ourselves, what do we value the most? And the things that we valued, basically it didn't make any sense for us to put money towards a mortgage because we needed a little bit of freedom. But yeah, increasingly trying to value the environment and like a no trace type lifestyle was really appealing to us and important to us. So that was one of our main motivators towards doing what we're doing. And we had this dream of starting a business together, and we really wanted to open up a forest school and try and help children and other people to reconnect with the natural world, just really in the hope that it can be preserved in the future. And we felt like that was really important to do. And so living in a tiny house has enabled us to have the money to be able to take a risk of opening that business and supporting other people to build their relationship with nature, basically, which has been lost massively. So for me, this was a particularly difficult transition, living in a tiny house. Like, I'd never lived in a van, or I didn't come from that. Tom had. You'd lived in a horse box. I'd never done it, and I had lots of things, and so I found it, it was a big let go for me. I saw it as a necessity, that it was important for me to do, which is why I did it, but it didn't make it any easier. Especially in the winter, it was difficult. And I was sort of living in a tiny house forced me to realise that I'd really lost all relationship with the natural world. Like, whether it was raining outside or sunny or cold, it just didn't affect me. I was living in a city, and I could just come into my house, I could turn on my central heating, and it was no problem. And I'd lost that connection or the desire to go outside and look at the stars or to see what the moon was doing, or it was gone. And when I come here, I realised it was gone. So that was quite a sad process for me as well, to realise I'd been living for a long time completely disconnected. So I'm really on that process of connecting more. Your journey was very different from mine, wasn't it?
Mm.
Do you have extra storage? Or?
In here is all of our kind of solar gadgets, so our inverter, the boiler. So our heating is on gas, but the charge controller and the inverter is up there because it needs a bit more ventilation, and all of our
How big inverter do you have?
I think it's 1,200, so it's not huge, but it's because we've got the 24 volt system, we could get away with a smaller inverter.
And the water boiler is instant, or it's electrical?
Yes, instant one. Yeah, so we don't have a tank. But yeah, pretty efficient, that one. Pretty happy with it. We just run off. One of these seems to last us about
3 months.
Yeah, about 3 months so far. So
in winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, in winter. Yeah, so in winter we have a wood stove and everything, so we don't necessarily use any more gas in the winter than the summer.
And this one's so huge. You exchange it by yourself, or someone comes?
We have someone who comes and delivers these.
Yeah.
One time we went to get it, and we weren't quite strong enough to get it down.
But
so
the guy who works there is big, strong guy.
He's huge. Yeah.
He just picks them up like this.
Yeah. At first I thought there was nothing in it because he just made it seem like nothing. But yeah, they're really heavy, deceivingly heavy. So.
And behind you, with the IBC there is where we store our water. So we're lucky that we have the land here. There's a borehole, so we're off grid with water as well. So the top one there, I made some pipe insulation because in the winter it froze.
Yeah,
So
we learnt the hard way, didn't we, with this system, having no water when it went below freezing, basically.
So I used the leftover sheep's wool from the insulation and insulated the
But you
pipe.
have a lot of rain in Wales, no? It's not
Yes.
A
enough-
lot of rain,
It's
yeah.
not enough to collect?
Well, we do collect it. We did collect it because for the first 6 months or so there was no borehole.
And we just used like a purifier that we have to drink it as well. We were bathing, drinking, doing everything with rainwater.
Yeah, so in the winter it's fine, but because we have the borehole, it's cleaner water, so it takes less filtering.
And then just like a shed, or
That belongs to the landowner. It was just a shed there, so it's quite useful for us to have a shed. as
Yeah, we
well.
have a few things that we're able to put in there.
and you have a bathtub.
We do.
Oh.
Tom is Mr. Resourceful. So as we go around this, we have a grey water system and we've used a bathtub. And originally we literally found this bathtub in a field that was just up there. It had been abandoned. And we were going to use this for our grey water system, but there's a hole in it. So it wouldn't work anyway.
Or we would have had to fill it up, and then we found another one.
Yeah, so it's still here, just waiting to be used.
And in these blue barrels here, we won't show you, but that's a year's worth of our poop. So we've got a composting toilet. So in those two small barrels, and these ones are empty so far.
And the idea is that within maybe a year or two, this will just be soil that we will be able to then use in our garden.
We'll put back on the fruit trees.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably
so,
not lettuce, but
Not
should be right on the fruit trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that feels quite good. That is going to some good use, and we're not just flushing a chain and it's just going into the water supply. So,
I'd lived in vans and things like that before, and lived quite minimalistically, and so I really valued that kind of. I really saw the value of having like less stuff, and how that kind of allows you to do more. You know, even just like, for example, practical things like I hate cleaning. So having a small house, it doesn't take very long to clean,
Yeah.
and then you can do
you
other things.
You actually upsized to this tiny house.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, there was a bit of a gap in between, so we lived in a flat in Spain. But yeah, so this was a kind of a settling down for me. But yeah, as Amy said, it's this. For me, it was always a way. I always wanted to live in a way where I was more connected with the outside. So the smaller the space, then the more you can interact with the outside, and the more the sort of natural world kind of affects you. And you know, do we have enough rain? Do we have enough sun? Like all of these things are part of our daily kind of what we're interacting with each day.
Yeah.
And sort of our composting toilet and our composting system. So being in that sort of being more connected to that energy cycle, I guess, is important.
And, I mean, you were actually living outside for a long period of time too. You know, not in a van or anything. Just
Yeah, I spent a lot of time living. I did a lot of cycling, so living just in a tent and spending long periods of time, sort of living just under a tarp and sleeping out. So yeah, that's something that's really important to me.
And if you go back 1-2 years when you started just to think about this project, and then when you started to build it, is there anything you would change about the building, about living off grid, or?
Good question. There's a few small details when it comes to the build, like for me, like little mistakes I made, like to seal everything like 2, 3, 4 times.
Doing by learning.
Yeah, doing by learning. Yeah, but yeah, there was not as many errors as I imagined there would be. So I think I was happy with how many mistakes I didn't make. we didn't make. Which was thanks to like channels like yours, like showing other people how they do things.
It's true.
And getting lots of ideas of what not
But
to
like
do.
size wise and off grid wise and everything is.
Yeah, people ask us this a lot, and yeah, there's nothing major. We're really happy with the layout.
Yeah.
The Obviously, like in an ideal world, we'd love to own land, and so it gives us more freedom with that. But we've been so grateful, and we're so lucky with the situation we're in.
And also we didn't want to live in a tiny house to have a mobile life. That wasn't our desire. We wanted to plant our roots somewhere really, but in a way where we weren't affecting the land that we were living on, to enable us to then do something that could be offering something positive to the community. And we didn't have any plans to be going around and travelling around. We've done our travelling, we've done that part of our life. This was like a time of service really that we were going into, to see what was needed around us. And so the fact that we can't move this and it's heavy, it hasn't really affected us that much. I am dreading the day when we have to move it again. Don't get me wrong, it was a really difficult move, with all the logistics, but fingers crossed that won't come yet. So
yeah, we have just bought a tiny caravan for road trips and holidays and things, which we're super happy with. The cladding is Western Red Cedar. It's been here a year. It's started to go a nice grey colour now.
it's beautiful.
But yeah, and again, to save money, we bought the planks with live edge, and then we kind of cut and routed every single piece to make like a lap joint. And you can see where it's a bit messy there. I forgot to seal around the window, and then when the rain came, we realised there was a leak, and I had to take all the cladding off, and that's why it looks like a mess.
And the rain really came.
Yeah.
Like our first few months of being here just didn't stop for about 9 weeks, and it was sideways rain, like coming at us from all directions. And where we're positioned, we have a lot of wind as well, so it was just driving it into every crack that was in our house. So we had quite a lot of repairing to do.
It showed us all the vulnerabilities. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy with how it looks, and how it's aged.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
And all windows are recycled.
Yeah.
The windows are recycled.
We found them in a skip. We were holidaying in Wales, but in a different place, and we were driving along the road, and there was a skip there, and we went in and we found these windows. So we pulled them out from our holiday and brought them back with us.
The round one I made, but all the others.
So basically you got windows, then you designed the house around the windows?
We spent, before we designed the house, we spent quite a lot of time just like trying to find things like for free. And so the windows was the first thing we found, and then we designed it around those. We replaced all the glass in them to make it more energy efficient, a thicker glazing in it. It was part of the process. It was quite a creative process. It was like, what can we find?
Yeah.
And how can we make it work?
Yeah, we were very opportunistic with this house. As you'll see when we go in, there's so many little bits of luck where we've just come across things and we've been able to use them. This bath that we've got, so this is our grey water system here. This bath, we were really lucky. This was given to us by our neighbours. They were just going to throw it out. This has worked so well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So all of our grey water, so when we are washing up and our shower, all of that comes into the bathtub. And then the idea of the plants is that it sort of purifies the water.
Yeah.
It's made with, is it like stones that we've...
So we've got kind of some sort of layers of gravel in there, and I've put some barriers in this that slow the water down. So it kind of goes into different sections, and so it kind of goes slowly through the gravel, which purifies it, and then the roots of the plants also purify it and oxygenate it.
And then we've got a hose that leads to our garden basically, so that all of the water that we're using actually goes in and feeds our plants down there. So
the strawberries are loving it. We've not watered the strawberries once, so they get just a constant kind of water from our grey water system.
Obviously with this we have to use all natural products, so everything that we're showering with, washing with, can't have any chemicals in it because it's just going straight back into the earth. So yeah, so we are quite conscious of what we're using and what we're tipping down the shower and the sink.
Chickens come, the first thing when they come up in the morning is they come here and they see what food scraps have come through the sink. So they kind of keep it quite clean for us.
Yeah, they do. And we've got very fat chickens as a result of that. They are hench.
How difficult was to find this land where you're renting now?
Yeah, well, the main thing was that when we started building the house, we had no idea where we were going to live. So it was a complete act of faith because we don't have enough money to be able to own land. We knew the area that we wanted to live in, mainly because we knew where we wanted to start our forest school. We wanted it to be in a city, but with enough rural areas for us to find a woodland that we could work from. And we joined loads of Facebook groups in those areas, and I just posted a picture of our house, a picture of me and Tom, and just said, you know, does anyone have any land? Does anybody want us? And somebody came forward, and unfortunately that fell through, but in a way that was where we got the land for our forest school. So it was, you know, they had a huge bit of land, 250 acres. And the main thing is that a lot of landowners are looking for ways to make money. You know, they want to retire, or, you know, they have this land and they want to have some sort of passive income. So for us, the landowners were really thankful for us to come along and be offering just to pay rent for them to do nothing. Unfortunately, our house we couldn't get it up a lane leading onto this piece of land. It was too narrow. But last minute, someone else came forward and they said, look, like, you can come and live on my lands. I have good neighbours, and we have a good understanding between us. And yeah, we're here by the grace of the people around us, really, of seeing that we're not causing any harm. We live a quiet life, a peaceful life, and there's no reason for our existence to disturb anyone here.
Yeah, I think just ask. It's the advice we give. Like, we just put it out there and ask people.
But I think it's very important first to build a house, or to have at least a shell.
Yeah.
To make people sure that you have already something what to put on, and have understanding what you're actually asking.
That's true. A lot of people can't envision what you're doing. I think the main thing is that for us, it's like we're moving into a time in general where action is like, you just need to act. You know, I think the time has gone to be sitting around thinking about things. Like, it's time to do something now, you know, and you just have to go with it. And a lot of the time, we're lucky we landed on our feet. It could have been different. You know, the downside to the way we're living is that we can't get our house insured. If anything happened to it, we'd have nothing, you know. We don't have security. We could be moved off the land at any point, which, you know, sometimes that does keep me up at night. And I can understand why for some people that would be a big risk. So there are risks involved, but I feel like we have to take risks at this moment in time. If we feel passionately about doing something that we believe is the right thing to do. Yeah, I think it was a brave decision, I think, what we did and what other people are doing. And but I think go for it, because if they're your values, for me, I would much rather live a life that is in alignment to my values and not have that guilt, you know, of like I should be living differently. I'd much rather have that than, you know, than anything else. I have to live with that day to day, and that's important to me, to live a life that I feel is right, and this is that life for me.
And you got small terrace.
We do have a small terrace, yeah. This was a necessity to keep the chickens out, actually, because when we were just here, the chickens were always finding their way. Like, if to have the door open, they were just coming into the house all the time. But obviously this is also a lovely space for us to be able to dry clothes, and we sit here a lot first thing in the morning. We make a cup of tea and we come out and we sit and we look out across the view, which is really beautiful. Yeah, and we were able to use the space as well to grow some extra things. We got some herbs, some coriander and parsley and fennel, and in here we've got some rocket that we're growing, and it's gone to flower now, so it's not so nice to eat, but yeah, we're trying to use the space as much as possible.
The greenhouse here, I'm quite proud of this.
So you should be.
We built this from, it was all exclusively leftover shower panels that somebody gave us, or a neighbour actually, who, I don't know how, I don't know why they had so many shower panels, but they were left over from different jobs. So yeah, I built this just by putting all the shower panels together, and it has an opening door. Quite posh, posh greenhouse. So we're growing aubergines, tomatoes, we had loads of cucumbers, and some peppers.
Yeah, it's worked really well, hasn't it, this greenhouse? They're loving it. We've got very happy fruits and vegetables in there. And it didn't cost us a penny.
And winters are not so cold here, so it doesn't damage anything.
No.
Yeah, we'll see what we can grow through the winter. Yeah, it'll be our first winter here. So.
Yeah. But I mean, the weather is getting more unpredictable here. Like, even though it rains quite a lot, I think there's been like an unprecedented amount of rain. So I know that a lot of the local farmers with their crops, they've really struggled. It's been really difficult to grow because, yeah, one minute it's a lot of rain, the next minute it's scorching temperatures. So it's difficult to find that happy medium. We're going to close this because this is what happens. These chickens just get everywhere. Come on.
Chicken poop is the bane of our lives.
Yeah.
It's like constantly on
You'll
our
see the
shoes.
culprits under the house as well. They're just hiding under there, just waiting for you to leave a door open or a gate, and then they'll be right in there behind you. So
I don't know if this is interesting, but our compost, we found that we were putting all our food scraps on the compost, and we had a problem with rats. So we've discovered something called bokashi, which is like where you ferment your compost. So we ferment that in these bins, and the juice that's created is really good for the plants. So we use it as a plant feed.
it smells awful though.
And
it's
smells
the worst smell.
so bad, yeah.
Yeah.
So we ferment it for about a month, and then we put it on the compost, and then the rats don't like it. So
It's worked really well. We haven't
Yeah,
had any problems with rats as a result of that. So, and this was how, in the first 6 months, this was how we were collecting all our water, basically, this water butt. We were filling up pans and heating them up for our shower, and yeah, this was our main source of water. And it did us well. Did us well for 6 months, thanks to the rain. Obviously, we don't have a TV in here, but we have a projector. So what we do is here over the doors we have a projector screen. So it's like the cinema in here. It really is. It goes over the whole door, and then the projector, we just pull this drawer out and we put the projector on the drawer basically, and then we watch films here. And
That thing is for to dry clothes, or
yeah, that's hard in a tiny. We haven't got a washing machine here. We couldn't, the drawer is too large, as in the energetic drawer is a lot. So we couldn't have a washing machine, and we don't have any sort of heat we don't have an iron or hairdryer or any of that sort of stuff. So it was really important to us to have a space, especially with all the rain that we were having constantly, to be able to dry our clothes. And it's just above the fire, so it dries a lot quicker.
Yeah, but new washing machines taking just 1 kilowatt per wash.
yeah, there are. We now that we've lived here for a year, we realise that we hardly make a dent in the battery storage.
It's amazing.
So we probably can look into like a low energy.
Tom had the ambition to build a bicycle-powered washing machine when we first moved in.
Yeah.
But we've just been so busy starting a business that there's just been
Hasn't happened yet.
no time to design it. It's important for us to be as self-sustainable as possible. So that involves, really important point is growing our own food. Our chickens are amazing. Sometimes it varies. Sometimes they're laying eggs in places that we just can't reach, or that they're hidden. But we get about 6 eggs a day, which is incredible. So yeah, we really enjoy our fresh eggs. And we're growing in here. We've got quite a few herbs that we're growing. Here we've got some strawberry, some fennel, some beetroot, some courgettes, which again, this is being fed through the grey water system. So we haven't had to water these at all. And they're thriving. They're very happy plants.
Yeah, the landowner was very kind to allow us to kind of have this space as an allotment.
Chicken proofed again, chicken wire.
Chicken proofed. And yeah, made use of materials that we found. So I made the beds out of old tyres, some of them, and some of these were bits of timber that came off the barn. It's a bit of a mess because we're kind of in the process of like changing things around now. So I've just taken out the potatoes and the leeks have gone in, probably a bit late for the leeks, but we'll see.
We got a few of these from a local organic grower. We went and saw him on his allotment, and he gave us some perennial kale. And he tried and tested some varieties and gave us the more hardy one. So
it
that
has
was
been absolutely decimated by
yes.
cabbage fly though. So
yeah, exactly.
hopefully it will come back in the winter.
We hope it will live another day, but
yeah, and we're doing the classic Three Sisters here. So we got squash on the bottom, and well, actually we're not doing Three Sisters because we didn't grow any beans, but squash on the bottom as a ground cover, and then growing some corn. So the corn's doing all right. We'll see if we get some nice cobs out of it.
So you're all learning by doing.
We're learning by doing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of this year we luckily where we run our forest school is a horse riding centre, so we have and also our neighbours have horses, so we have access to manure. But yeah, this is an experiment. So we're trying to do no dig gardening. So we've just layered the manure with compost and cardboard. We're just seeing as we go along. Things that have done well, the celery's done really well. We had lots of beetroots.
courgettes. We've got courgettes coming all over the place.
Yeah, lots of courgettes.
Wow, there's a huge one over here. Look at this, but we've missed. This is like turned into a marrow.
We had courgette cake. We had courgette. We used courgettes in our
Look
apple
at
crumble because it feels like apple, so we made courgette
yeah,
apple crumble.
we tricked the kids into eating some courgette and told them that it was apples. But yeah, it tasted really good. They didn't know. They just ate it down.
Everything you can think of with courgettes, we've made it.
Yeah.
And here at the end?
Here we had beans here, so I've taken those out and I've put some more compost there. And we had some tomatoes, but they all got blight, so there's a few straggling ones left. So we'll make some green tomato chutney with the green. And then we got a few fruit bushes over here, but they've been taken over. It's mainly brambles with lots of blackberries.
Not having come from from a lifestyle before that was particularly connected, just living in a city, and then moving into this sort of life, I decided that I'd like to speak about it a little bit more, and I'm going to be starting a podcast about it, and speaking to other people too about how we can, hopefully inspiring conversations about how we can live a life that's simpler, smarter and smaller. So yeah, that's important to me to share, because I feel like the more momentum we can get around people doing this, the more support as well that we can all give each other in the community of where to go, how do you do this. It's not just the how to. There's a lot out there that's like how to materially, but psychologically, how do you adapt your life to living in a completely different way? How do we adapt to change? Because change is coming, and change is always happening. And I think our superpower as humans is going to be how we adapt to it all the time. And so I think that's a really important element of this lifestyle. It's how do we change from one mindset, doing things one way, to another? And I'd like to open up that conversation, and that's really important to me.
And they have a Instagram or some other social media where you...
Yeah, we have. So our Instagram is a Tiny Space Odyssey, and that's also the name of the podcast.
What are the dimensions of the house? How big it is?
So it's 2 points. It's within the British road legal maximum width, which is 2.5 meters.
255.
255, yeah. So with the cladding and the window seals, it's just about 255, and we put the guttering on afterwards when we arrived here after we travelled.
And the length?
The length is 7.5 meters, and 8 point something with the A-frame, but the livable space is 7.5.
And the height?
Height is, so the maximum height is 4 meters from the ground. So when we moved it here, we were so close because it had to go on top of a flatbed. So with the flatbed, it was just like bang on the 16-foot maximum limit in the UK.
There's a video that we made on the journey down here, because it was such an odyssey getting this house here. It really was. We built it in a barn, and then the first time we ever took it out of the barn, we weren't even sure that we'd built it, that it was like going to go under the barn. It was so close. And then, there's a video of us going past the house on the motorway because we paid someone to bring it down here on a low loader, and we saw it just as it was going under a bridge, and we were like, oh, but it did it.
Yeah, it looked like it was like that, but it must have been more.
Yeah,
but it was very close.
tight.
Yeah, because we
really tight.
When we first decided to build it, we thought we would be able to pull it, so we made it at 4 meters, but on top of the flatbed, that makes it
4.5 probably.
Yeah, so then we had to find quite a low flatbed.
Alright, thanks for watching. The full tour you can find in video right here. Links of the guys I will leave in the description below, and see you in the next one. Cheers!